Alright YouTube, I'm Jerry, it's Egypt.
Welcome to day 3 of our Egypt honeymoon. Again, it was nice to watch the sunrise over Egypt with breakfast. This is the Old Egyptian Museum. This museum was finished in 1901 and construction started in 1889. The entrance itself was designed by the French designer Marcel Jourguenon, and on the left of the entrance is Isis in Greek style clothing, and then you've got Hathor in the middle. As you enter the museum, you are met with massive statues of Ramesses II and Amenhotep. In this glass cabinet we have a depiction of the first king of Egypt, Nama Peleti, in roughly 31 BC. It's made of siltstone and symbolises the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. To his right you have the hawk or falcon, which is the symbol of the god at the time, standing on 6 papyrus coming out the back of an enemy of the king, which the hawk is presenting to the king, and on the bottom you have 2 more of his enemies. On the other side, the top panel is the king standing behind 4 figures carrying the fetishes, which are the signs of the god, with 10 headless enemies on the right with their heads between their legs. The middle is a really bizarre image of 2 men controlling what looks to be dinosaurs, but with the heads of lions. This apparently symbolises the strife between Upper and Lower Egypt, but it's not even Egyptian symbolism, it's Mesopotamian, which adds even more questions to what the symbolism may actually mean. On the bottom is the king being depicted as a bull, which shows his strength and he's trampling on his enemies. This Marimdi head is a clay mask, and it's supposedly the oldest mask ever made by humans in Egypt and Africa, somewhere between 5,500 and 6,000 years ago. Here we have the stele of the first ever queen of Egypt, Meretnith. Some 6,000 to 5,000 year old pre-dynastic artistic pottery, bundled together with the incredible Sabu disc, apparently dating back 3000 BC and made of metamorphic schist, which is a particularly delicate stone to work with, and even though you may be told that it was just a simple candle holder or other ceremonial ornament, the actual use of this object is still completely unknown. If it was just to look pretty, this material would be at the bottom of the list due to its difficulty. Inside this sarcophagus, you can see the depictions of offerings and objects that would go with the deceased to the afterlife. They would chant the incantations on the outside of the coffin so that the depictions on the inside would become real in the afterlife. This massive granite box was apparently cut with copper and sand, and this massive cut at the back was to cut the lid off the rear face, but as it broke it was discarded. Cutting such objects with copper seems pretty unbelievable to me. Here we have a statue of Djoser, the builder of the step pyramid in Saqqara that you'll see in a later video, and behind him there's loads of glazed glass. These geese paintings were inside the burial of Nefermat, and the paint has survived since 2600 BC, and it shows that they figured out exactly how to paint perspective. As you can see, there's one goose behind the other one. Now this statue of Khafre was discovered in a pit under the Valley Temple in Giza, and it's made out of diorite, which is a 6 to 7 on the Mohs scale of hardness, and you're supposed to believe that it was cut with copper, which is only a 3 on the Mohs scale. Basically the equivalent of cutting glass with your fingernail, which doesn't really add up, especially when you consider the perfection and symmetry of this statue. If you visit the museum, you'll notice a few overcuts on it as well, which would have taken quite a while using the mainstream method, putting into question how they actually made something like this. On the side of this statue is the symbolism for unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, and you've got the god Horus behind its head for protection. There are actually 4 of these statues, but one is in Boston University, each carved from a single block of stone. Here you have the only ever statue of Khufu ever found, who is allegedly who built the Great Pyramid. Doesn't make sense how you can commission something as incredible as the Great Pyramid, but you can't commission a statue any larger than this one. At this point they started using crystals in the eyes of statues to really bring them back to life. This wooden statue dates back to 2400 to 2300 BC, which is incredible that the wood has lasted this long. It used to be plastered and painted, and as you can see, the eyes are made of rock crystal, calcite and copper. The mainstream story is that the civilization declined through the Middle Kingdom, which is why the most impressive statues and monuments are at the beginning. But even though there was a decline in civilization, it doesn't make sense how there was a skill decline as well, because you would have thought they'd be passed on through the ages. This giant head is Hatshepsut, the queen who wanted to be depicted as a male pharaoh so she'd get more respect from the rest of the civilization. Or is it that she, like many other pharaohs, put her name on things that she found and tweaked their appearance slightly to call it her own? This Sphinx belongs to Hatshepsut as well. Egyptians were very fussy about producing lifelike statues and trying to make things exactly as they should, which is why the Akhenaten statues are always strange to look at. The mainstream will tell you that it's just a different style of carving, but really it could just be that his whole stature was different to the rest of the pharaohs, and he almost looks otherworldly entirely. His face shape, body shape and head shape is like nothing else seen anywhere in Egypt. This carving is for his wife Nefertiti, and you can see how they shaped the face by marking the places that need to be smoothed and reduced to be finished. Again, like Akhenaten, she was unlike any other queen. As you can see here from the elongated skull, it makes her completely different to all of the other people that you see. This massive statue is of Ramses II while he was a child, with the god Horus behind him. And here you can see his name in hieroglyphs, so watch out for this plastered absolutely everywhere in Egypt, and I think it's on lots of stuff that he found rather than made. This golden chair was for Tutankhamun. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to film any of the other Tutankhamun relics, so you'll actually have to go to the museum to see them yourself, but they're not even in the old museum anymore, they're actually in the Grand Egyptian Museum now. So these sarcophagus are absolutely massive, and could they be proof of the existence of giants in Egypt? They're easily 9 to 10 foot tall, which doesn't make any sense if you're just going to put a normal sized person inside them. Now, in with a load of pottery, we find some of those incredible vases. I'm absolutely obsessed with these whenever I see them. Up close you can really tell the difference in quality and stone of all of these vases. If you hunt around, you will find this mummy that's in a sarcophagus. If you want to see a whole load more mummies of pharaohs, then definitely head down to the Museum of Civilization. You can really see how polished some of these statues are by the shine from my phone's light. This sarcophagus of Imhotep is really impressive too, with its polished and finely carved stone. However, in my opinion, the hieroglyphs on the outside look quite out of place, almost like it was repurposed. This capstone is from the Black Pyramid in Dashur. Even though this massive statue really looks impressive, unfortunately it's a reconstruction. Here we have another one of those sphinxes that's really nicely done, but has that really bad out of place writing written on the outside, just like you see in the Grand Egyptian Museum. Next, we drove down to the Citadel to see the Mosque of Muhammad Ali. This was built between 1832 and 1857 and includes a clock tower that's never worked, which he swapped an obelisk from Luxor for, which was a pretty stupid move just for his political ego. We had to remove our shoes because of the religious aspect of the building. Muhammad Ali was actually Albanian, and he's buried behind this ornate wall. In my opinion, he did quite a lot of damage to Egypt during his time as ruler, but we'll get into that at a later video. As you can see, there is a whole load of detail in these ceilings. Once you're in the courtyard, you get a really good view of Cairo, and if the weather is good enough, you can see the pyramids in the distance. Welcome to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. It's home to some actual real pharaoh mummies, so if you want to see some, I definitely advise coming here. Unfortunately, we weren't even allowed to film down there, so you'll have to go to the museum to see for yourself. So here is an actual real burial preparation tent. This wooden chariot belonged to Thutmose IV, and he actually took it to war, so if you look closely you can still see the blood of his enemies on it. It used to be gold plated, and there's loads of ornate designs on the inside as well. Here we have some symbols of purification. Here are some real ancient Egyptian musical instruments. And just like today, they had some really pretty jewellery as well. Here we have some clocks and some sundials. These caught my eye as well, because these stones were apparently just weights to measure ingredients. The amount of work that's gone into them to make them these shapes, and why would you polish them to such an extent if all they are is some weights? Here's another one of those highly polished sphinxes that has the really out of place writing on the outside. Thank you for joining me on this journey around some of the museums in Egypt. Remember to come back because there's lots more footage of our Egypt trip to come.